by the way, one of the reasons I decided to come back to social media is there's a lot of misinformation coming out there. Not that I'm some virtuous person that will set everything back to truth, but some of the stuff is very illogical that people are teaching. And I was like, yo, I got to come back and talk about stuff because, for example, one of the common kind of themes is like in your 20s, you sacrifice, you know, and you don't go out and you don't party and you do this and you lock yourself in and you set your income in order. Well, I live off this Joel Salatin framework, my first mentor. Mother Nature laughs last. The best plans of mice and men, there's a famous book, Mice and Men, you know, often go awry. And so when you deviate from nature, what should you be doing? Look at your hormonal composition. In your 20s, you're going to have peak testosterone from about 16 to 26. So you shouldn't just be, that's a unique time where you can build a lot of muscle. You know, my dad was a pro bodybuilder and he put a lot of muscle on at that age. And my dad at 80 still had biceps. It was nuts. You know, you get that. There's some science now that working out young, you get a release of something we don't understand, but some kind of growth hormone, stem cells, and that body part stays strong much easier, much longer. So I think, you know, when you go into that sacrifice mode, which people are teaching, well, it's also your best time to make social connections. Old friends are great. And so that 16 to 26 is time you should be social. So I actually think it's inverted. I think you should, if you wanted to emphasize anything, at a young age, 16 to 26, you would maybe emphasize slightly more health and love, you know? It's funny, like you look at a young dude, just take sex, for example. How many times can a 20-year-old guy come versus a 90-year-old do in one day? It's a strange question for a second.
Quite a bit more. There's a multiple on that.
But I'm just saying, just think science, you know, because one thing I've learned about entrepreneur world is it's a bunch of dudes who pride themselves on their logic, but are emotional bitches at the end of the day. So let's just go logic. When we think about sex, take it away from Homo sapiens, any species. So if you have higher fertility, higher sperm count, 16 and 26, that's Mother Nature saying reproduction time's here. And the best laid plans of Twitter money and is gonna fucking laugh at that stuff. So Elon Musk is an interesting case because he had like 6 kids before he was like 30. He followed kind of nature's plan.
And he's an advocate for it. He talks about it all the time. Like, go have 4 or 6 kids.
He's a scientist. He thinks logically when the rest of the entrepreneurial world is thinking. And that's why I said the problem with social media now is the good news is a good idea can spread like wildfire, but so can a bad one. And what I define as bad is your greatest danger in life is a 95% truth, 5% lie. It's kind of like you're on Earth, you're on a rocket ship, and you're going to Mars. You set that sucker, or the moon, 5% off. It doesn't seem much off. By the time you get to the moon, you miss it by 1,000 miles. So social media now has good ideas, but it also has this dangerous 95% true. The idea of sacrificing your 20s to create an income source is partially true, because in Mother Nature, between 16 and 26 is when a man became a hunter. All hunter-gatherer tribes, we're mostly, we look too much to our farming past, which is the last 25,000 years. You got to look, hominids are probably 1.2 million years old. Homo sapiens, let's say 300,000. You have way more generation as hunter-gatherers. So as a hunter-gatherer, a man was doing a lot between 16 and 26. In fact, what he was doing was bringing up the 4 pillars at the same time. He was, you know, you look at an African warrior, Amazonian tribe, a boy who's 16, 17, 18, he's definitely focused on being strong, physical. But he's simultaneously, you know, courting in some level, mating at some level, because you used to have a shorter lifespan. So people were having kids 16 to 26. But they were also establishing themselves as hunters. So I think you should do all of them and ignore the popular advice that you just focus on wealth acquisition, because to a hunter-gatherer, wealth acquisition, you also needed a woman and you needed physical strength, right? The hunter-gatherer, you were like hunting, and then You needed to prepare it. And if you had a kid coming, you needed a woman as kind of a team with you. So that's why I said a man at 16 to 26, and this really never ends, should be bringing up all those pillars at the same. And then happiness to me is a compass, not an emotional thing. So I remember, I think 2013 was one of my best years because I call it early morning bliss. I woke up, I remember in 2013, just waking up and being like, the world is at peace. I'm at peace. Everything's good. And so I think if you're at 16 to 26 or 26 to 56, the happiness component, health, wealth, love, happiness, that one is more of your compass. It's not so much seeking happiness through a specific experience. It's like, how do I feel when I wake up? Do I wake up in a stress state? You know? And so those first three are active things you're working on. Happiness is a consequence of getting the first three right.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this short clip, check out the full interview here. And if you want to see more clips from this episode, check it out right here.